Hello everyone, my name is Hasiba Hafizi. I'm from 11G3 and today I'll be talking about my PowerPoint presentation, which is about Illustrator. Let's move on to the next slide. So I'll be talking about 8 to 9 things today, but first I would like to give a little introduction on what is Illustrator. Then we move on to knowing how to create and delete a layer, define the layer column structure, what are the options for a layer and a sublayer, how to change the stack and order of a layer, how can you release items to a separate layer, and then on merge and flatten the layers, and lastly how do you create a clipping mask in Illustrator. So for the introduction, what is Adobe Illustrator? It's a software application for creating drawing illustrations and artworks using a window and computer. Illustrator was first revealed in 1987 and it has continued to be updated regularly basis. And it's also now included as part of the Adobe Creative Cloud. And what is it used for? So Adobe Illustrator is used to create cartoons, charts, diagrams, logos, graphs, and illustrations, and many other digital and printable photos. Illustrator also lets you to import a photo and use it as a guide to trace an object in it. And also this will give your photograph a scratch-like appearance. Also, Illustrator allows you to manipulate words in a variety of ways, making it very easy to make postcards, posters, and charts, and many other things. And now moving on to the real thing. So creating new layers and deleting layers. So we could access the layer palette from the window menu. To create a new layer, you have to click an icon, which you can see right here. You could also create a new layer by clicking the menu palette. So let's go first talk about creating new layers, and let me show you a few examples. Alright, here's the... So you could go to Windows and you can see something right here that says layer, and then when you click on it, you will get this on your side of the computer, which will let you to access towards layers. So on how to make new layers, you could press this little icon right here, and when you click it, you can see my third layer on top here, or you could go from the menu and click on new layers. And also you can name the layer. To delete a layer, all you have to do is click this bin icon and make sure to select the layer you want. Okay, sorry, I have selected and deleted. Alright, and another way is to drag the picture or the layer into the bin to delete it, or you could, let me make a new one, or you could delete it by right here in your palette menu, and you have the option for deleting layer 3. And those are the few ways of deleting. A last way for deleting a layer is that you could target the object from the column and then press the space back button that you have in your keyboard. A good reminder is that a document must have at least one layer to delete the selected layer. Let's go see this. So as you can see, this is the third layer. I could basically just wait. Alright. It must have something on it to get it deleted and targeted. And you could see that now it's targeted, and you could just delete. Yes. There you go. That's how you can delete your third layer. So now let's move on to the next slide. The next slide is about column structure. So layer palettes provide column to the left and the right of the listing, and each column controls the following characteristics. Visibility column indicates the visibility of a layer item. So when you click on the eye icon, it makes the layer invisible or hidden. Let's see that. So as you can see, this is the visibility column, and when you hit on the eye, it will, as you can see, it removed all of the drawings I had here. And when I press it again, it will let me see the drawings. And now let's move on to the second one. The second column is the edit column, and this indicates whether items are locked or unlocked. To lock a layer, simply click to lock it, and then the items will be locked and you cannot edit it. Clicking again creates a blank space indicating that the item is unlocked and you could edit it. So let's see this. It's right here, this column. And when I click here, I basically have no access on editing here since it's locked now. And when I unlock it again, I could simply edit it. So now my third column is called the targeted column, which indicates whether items are targeted. To target a layer, click on the target button, which turns to a double ring. Remember, it must turn to a double ring to know that you have actually targeted the object or the item. And if it's a single ring, that means that you have not targeted the object. So let's go and see that with an example. As you could see here, when you target an object, right here. When you target an object, it turns to double ring, and you can see that all of these are targeted. And that's all you need to know for this one. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, so this will be the last column, and it's known as the selection column. This indicates whether items are selected. So when a layer and item is selected, a color box appears coordinating to the assigned color of that layer. Now if we target a specific path within an object, a smaller selection color box appears next to the parent object or item. Let's see that one example. So as you can see, I will basically select this, and all of these are selected as well. And you can see these two colors are same. The small triangle color next to this one are the same. They both are red. And that would be all for the selection one. Let's move on to the next question, which is layer and sublayer options. So when you create a new file, there will always be a default layer 1. Once you add an object to the artboard, the layer palette will distribute an extension arrow next to the certain layer, and that will let you to see sublayer 1. And the layer options let you to rename a layer. There's also additional options for changing the selection color, locking, print separation, or denting the layer. Let's see this all in examples. So for the sublayers, this is what it means when you have an arrow to your layer 2, and when you click on the arrow, this is known as the sublayer. And you could also add sublayers right here. I could have as many as I want, and let's just delete these. Select this. Oops. All right. Let me just quickly change this, please. Let's delete that. Also delete this one. Okay. Next was the option layer. So when you select this, you could go here on the palette menu, and you'll see option for layer 2. When you click it, you could rename it, you could change the color, the print, and the depth of the image. So you could have a lot of options for the layer options, and that will be for this part. Let's move on to the next. Next question is changing the stacks and orders of a layer. So the artwork at the top of the layer palette is at the front of the stacking order, while artwork at the bottom of the layer palette is at the back of the stacking order. By creating multiple layers in your artwork, you could control how overlapping objects are displayed. So let's see how you could move them or order them. First is you could drag the item's name and release the mouse button when black exclamation marks appear in the desired position. Let's see this. So let's say you want to move this to layer 5. So you just take this, and you can see that I have these blue marks, and then when I release it in layer 4, that's where this position could be. All right, let's move back that. All right. Next is you could click the item selection column, drag the selection color box to a different item's selection color box, and release the mouse button. So let's say for this, you could select this one, and let's say you want to move this to here, and you could simply just move that in right here. It could be part of the layer 3. Off next is to reverse. So to reverse the order of items in the layer palette, hold down Control if you use Windows or Command if you use Mac, and click the names of the item whose order you want to reverse. So for this, I will definitely need 2 hands, but I'm holding the, so let's just say, hopefully I could Alright, I'll probably put this down for a minute there. Sorry I couldn't show you this part because I'm holding my phone with one hand and using my other to show. So yeah, just click the control and then click on the name, and then you'll get 2 of them. So when you get this, you could go to the menu palette and you will have reverse order, and when you click on this, these 2 options are gonna change places. As you can see, this one moved here and this one was and layer 1 moved down. Let's see that once again. You can see the red was here and the blue was there, but they switched places after when I reversed them. Yes. Let's move on to the next question, which is how can you reverse item to separate layer? The reverse to layer command reduces all of the items in a layer into individual layers and can build new objects in each layer based on the object's stacking order. So let's go and see this in example. So right here we have this, and they all are in one layer. So first you have to choose all of them to make them in a separate layer. After you choose them, go to the palette menu, and then you'll see, first click this all, and then once you go here, click on the release to layer sequence. And now as you can see, as a result, we have all of them in separate layers, and that's what the release sequence. Now let's see, let me just undo this. All right, now let's see release to layer build. After you click this, as you can see, you have all of them in layers. So layer 4 is in all of the layers. You can see it's right here and it's right here. And then the first layer, which is the topmost of the layers, only in layer 2. And that's how release build layer works, and I hope you understand. Let's move on to the next one. So the next one is in what way you can merge and flatten the layers. Merging and flattening layers let you consolidate object groups and sub-layers into a single layer or group. Let's do this with an example. So right here, for merging, let's choose the layers. You could do that by holding the control key. Let me see if I could do this in one hand. Alright, now that you have selected these 2, you go to the menu palette and then you click on merge selected, and now you can see the first layer is the layer that the top is. You can say the layer that was last is now the layer that's named. Let's see that once again. So as you can see, my last selected layer was layer 1. Let me just select this as well. Alright, as you can see, it was the last layer was layer 1, and then when we merge select, it will be named as it will be a single layer and it will be named layer 1. Now let's see how to flatten an object. So you select them once again with control. Alright, and then you go to the palette menu, and you say flatten artwork, and the result, as you can see, each of your artwork is flattened into an individual layer. So we have finally reached our last question, which is how do you create a clipping mask in Illustrator? A clipping mask is an object whose shape masks other artwork so that only areas that lay within the shape are visible. Let's go ahead and see that example. So as you see, I have 2 objects, and right now I first need to create a clipping mask setup, or you could say clipping mask set. So first target these 2 objects, and once you target it, go to object, and you will see right here you have clipping mask, or you could use a shortcut which is Control 7, and once you hit it, let me just see why. All of them are targeted. Okay, the photo target, clip mask, can make clip mask. Finally reached the last question, which is how do you create a clipping mask in Illustrator? A clipping mask is an object whose shape masks other artwork so that only areas that lay within the shape are visible. Let's see this in an example. So first we have these 2 objects, and now we need to create a clipping mask set. So first you select both of them, target them, Alright, Now that you target both of them, go to Objects, and right here you will see Clipping Mask. You could also use a shortcut which is Control-7, and then when you hit it, we get this group. And now when you hit on this, a button right here shall get activated. Alright, yeah. You see that group right here, which is known also as Make Release Clipping Mask, will get activated. When you hit on this, it groups it. So now that you see, you have both of the your artworks in one group. And thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you understand something. And once again, thank you for listening.